I'm here with Assemblywoman Schepisi and Assemblyman Declan O'Scanlan to talk about an issue that the Democratic majority has ignored. Today, there's a number of bills or resolutions up, some of them significant, some of them not significant. But we have a crisis in the, we'll call it affordable housing area, because it is the wild, wild west. And what that simply means is lawsuits now determine what housing gets built in communities. In order to stop these out-of-control lawsuits, the legislature must act. The legislature has failed to act, causing municipalities to spend millions and millions of dollars, leave uncertainty with respect to what housing is going to be built, and has taken away from local authority the ability to determine how many units, where the units go, which causes an increase in property taxes, a strain on services, and in my judgment, the legislature is disrespecting local municipalities and home rule. So today, before I turn this over to Holly Schepisi, who has the, in my judgment, incredibly effective legislation, she's led the fight on this. Before I turn it over, let me say to the Speaker and to the leaders on the Democratic side, your constituents, Democrats, Independents, and Republicans, are all calling for the legislature to take immediate action and give guidance to municipalities and take away from the courts court-imposed high-density housing. This is not the role of the courts. The courts have made a decision, but the legislature represents the people. We can overturn out-of-control court decisions through a constitutional amendment and other legislative remedies. So there's no reason to wait. We're here. It's July 31st. Let's move on the affordable housing issue, and let's make it clear.
This has been something that I've been personally involved with since prior to getting involved in politics. I was a borough attorney. I actually helped our municipality wade through their obligations as they were getting sued in a builder remedy suit. Where we're at right now, this should be the biggest bipartisan initiative in the state of New Jersey. Instead, the Democrats have turned it into a partisan issue and have refused to help their own constituents and their own municipalities. Right now, you have our Speaker, who represents places like Edgewater. Speaker Prieto represents Edgewater, which is currently being sued by Fair Share Housing to try to force over 2,500 new units of housing in Edgewater, New Jersey. You have our Assemblyman Green, who's the head of the Housing Committee, where towns that he represents are calling my office, begging for my help and for Leader Bramnick's help, because their own representative refuses to do anything. I have received calls from Devford that Senator Sweeney represents. I have received calls from municipalities in every district in this entire state begging for help. In Old Bridge right now, I had a councilwoman call me on my way in this morning stating that they are being forced to put in over 3,500 new rental units as a result of this legislature's failure to act on their behalf. District 38, Paramus, New Jersey, could end up with north of 7,000 new units without the schools, the infrastructure, or any other commensurate resources to offset that. Now, we sit here today and say, why? Why are the Democrats refusing to even have discussion on one of the most important issues impacting every place they represent? And I have not been able to understand why until a couple of days ago. And the number one organization that is forcing these massive numbers in our community is a nonprofit called Fair Share Housing. On Friday, I found out that one of their big donors for for the past year has been none other than the front runner for the Democratic gubernatorial race, Phil Murphy, and his foundation. It's the only explanation as to why Democrats are refusing to help their own constituents is because their anointed leader is leading the charge of overdevelopment in our communities, and it is wrong.
Right now, this problem is only a serious and threatening problem. If we fail to take action, if the legislature fails to step up, it will unquestionably become an unmitigated disaster for our municipalities throughout New Jersey. From a property tax perspective, apparently our friends on the other side of the aisle and the gubernatorial nominee from the other side of the aisle don't think we have a property tax problem. Here's a newsflash. It will be a disaster. Imagine your community having to increase its housing units by 25 or 30%. That should be real to everyone. That means traffic going up and traffic jams going up probably an exponential ratio beyond that, because you only have to add a little bit of extra traffic to dramatically increase the problems. Schools, you name it, municipalities will have to invest money they do not have. So we have to take action. I commend Assemblywoman Schepisi for leading the way. I'm happy to have joined her. This is something that Republicans and Democrats need to come together to solve. And to not do so is an abdication of our most important responsibilities regarding the most important issues facing us. During our budget deliberations this year, we had experts come in who were not partisan at all to testify to us about budget impact, development, and our overall budget structure. I asked point blank these folks, and they're not Republicans by any means, is it right with now the new reawakening of urbanization in this state that we continue to pursue policies that spread people out beyond the areas where there are services available for folks? Many of these folks who are going to occupy these low-income units will need services. They will need transportation. It's completely illogical to do a one-size-fits-all solution to affordable housing in this state. If one wants to make the argument that we should promote policies that promote greater availability of affordable housing in areas where it's appropriate, and I'm not saying that's only the cities, fine, let's talk about that. But this infliction of this extraordinary pain and damage to our municipalities is not the answer.